right, guys.
All right.
This is Dirty Mike with Dirty Mike Crypto. We are back with another Dirty Dozen video. Today we have two people on with us. We have Yushuwa from the founder of Shieldcoin and Chris, the developer. And you guys there with me?
Yeah, we're
Awesome. So
here.
glad to have you guys with me today. I've been going over some stuff on Shieldcoin, and I think it's, really an awesome project, and I definitely think it's something that a lot of people are going to be interested in, and we'll give you a chance to explain some stuff and get it started.
All right. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you for having us here. I really like to start this with a question now, because we've been through a few AMAs, but have you been scammed, Mike? I know you're in the crypto space. Have you ever been scammed?
Yes.
Yes, we all have. I mean, I don't know about Chris because he's an expert, but for the rest of us, scams are really why we're here. Yeah. 2 weeks ago?
2 weeks ago I got scammed. I bought a honeypot. That's terrible.
Yeah, scams are real in the space, and that's really why we created Shieldcoin. We wanted to find a way to protect the DeFi space from overregulation by helping to make it a safer place for just general investors. There's some of us that are going to do high risk investing no matter what, but for the average person, we're not here to lose money or go for the gold all the time. We want some investments that actually we have some stability in. We're not going to lose all our money. If we need to start again, we can start again. And that's basically what Shieldcoin is here for. It's to kind of give you a baseline so you can never go too far below where you started. You can always start again.
That's cool. Well, you know what? We'll start off. The way I kind of do these interviews, this is more not a. Chris has done this with me before, so this isn't necessarily like an AMA. What I kind of try to do with this is I ask you guys about a dozen questions. 75% of them are serious, and 25% of them we like having some fun with it. So I'll kind of just start with this question since this is right up your alley. So, what do you think can be done to help clean up the number of scam projects and rug pulls and honeypots on the BSC network?
Honestly, that's a part of what our second utility is. So the crypto insurance is kind of to protect people in general. The second project or the second utility, the coin risk rating, is exactly for that. What I'm trying to do is identify projects that I go through and I do a business analysis on. I have about 26 questions or so that I'll review on each project. And if I see any red flags, I'll mark it as a high risk project. Not because it can't be fixed, but because at the time that I'm looking at the information online, this is high risk. And it's high risk from someone with a training in investing, training in business. I'm looking at the project and I'm saying, hey, I wouldn't put my money here. I'm going to let my community know the same thing. And it's detailed. It's fair. Again, no project can pay me for this information. So when I publish it, it's based on my analysis. They can ask me why, and I can give them information. But it's not going to change. They can't change my scoring unless they change their project or change something about their project.
So I think people going to be able to just go right on your website and see your CR ratings for everything, and then be able to make their decisions based off of that.
Yes, whether you're in the community or not, it's going to be live on the website. Public, it's available to the public in general. And the reason for that is scams that people know about are much harder to perpetrate. If only our small community knows about it, that scam is going to keep on making a lot of money, which means more people are going to keep on doing it. So
that's awesome. That's really cool.
And to piggyback off his answer real quick, I think in the past, my answer to you on this question was just, education.
Yeah.
And I would like to first say that what he's talking about directly ties to that.
Yeah.
But furthermore, the reason why I joined this project is because this is a DeFi solution to a DeFi problem. And that's what I love about it. Because we look for a better way to handle risk mitigation in the space all the time. And utility one of this project, Crypto Assurance, is that. It's the DeFi solution to that risk mitigation problem. It was just such an innovative idea, and having somebody that I believe is able to implement it is key for me. Yushuwa is fantastic.
I appreciate that, Chris. But really, it only works out because Chris was able to actually do certain aspects to the contract code that actually allowed me to set up the structure in the background where insurance could succeed. So it's not just my knowledge of insurance, it's the ability to apply the tokenomics in such a way that the insurance could actually function and we could actually cover those claims as they come in.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about the crypto insurance? Because, I mean, I've never heard of anything like this before. You know, like we said before in the past, you know, when you got scammed, you got scammed. There's nobody you can really cry to. Yeah, the government has a couple websites up that they say you can report shit to. But, I mean, you know what's really going to truly get done?
Right. So crypto insurance is basically we're putting your protection of your assets in your hands. You hold the key to your wallet. Now you also decide what project you invest in. Crypto insurance is going to give you a tool to say, hey, I have protection, some coverage if I want to keep my assets safe no matter what happens. And that's basically what it is. It's a risk sharing agreement between us, the Shieldcoin project team, and our community. If we'll tell you these are projects we consider low risk, projects we consider medium risk, and projects that are high risk as far as we're concerned. And this is the amount of risk we'll take on with you when you're investing in that project. So if you're investing in a low risk project, we're going to take on 100% of the risk. We've determined that that project is viable. The team is doxed, or at least we believe that the project isn't going anywhere. And because, again, doxing teams is kind of a new phenomenon in the DeFi space.
Right.
So we do take that into account. But the projects still have to stand on their own merit. A lot of projects are just copies of others. And for me, from a business standpoint, when you have a saturated market, that can't be considered a low risk project because it requires a lot of adoption by a broad set of people for it to even succeed. And just look at all the swaps that are out there. Everyone has a swap.
Yeah.
But everyone's swap is not going to get used because no one either knows about it or they don't trust it. They have their trusted Pancake swap or SafeMoon swap or Wi-Fi. They'll go to what they know. And every swap that just pops up out of nowhere is not going to make it. And again, that makes it high risk. And that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm doing when I'm doing my analysis. But crypto insurance is that way to mitigate it. You can say, I'm going to invest in these projects. Some of them will be high. I can switch off my my allocation of risk, or I can say I can have some low, some medium, some high, because I know that there's a potential for an upshot on the high risk projects. But that's your choice as an investor. We're not going to control that. This is the DeFi space. Everyone's responsible for their own assets.
Right.
We're just giving you another tool.
Let me chime in. Let me chime in there with just like make sure everyone here and anybody who listens to this is hearing what Yushuwa is talking about. He's not talking about vetting these projects as if they are good or bad. He's literally talking about wealth growth, risk mitigation. How can you grow your wealth in this space in a positive and less risky manner? And this is exactly what I love about this project.
Right.
He's not talking at all about whether or not this project is good or bad, or he feels good about it, bad about it, even as far as like safety wise per se. He's literally talking about financial risk mitigation. That's what we're talking about here.
And that's why Chris is always on the phone call. He always condenses it in a way that I don't. That's just not how I talk.
Yeah, Chris.
That's why Chris is on the team. Yeah,
explaining stuff like that. That's awesome. Well, let me ask you, since you are doing so much research into these projects, you know, beforehand, are you going to be launching any of these projects? Are you going to have any kind of launchpad feature on this eventually? Is that anywhere in the plans?
Yeah, so I actually asked Chris about that a few days ago. There's a concept for it, but if we do a launchpad or anything of that sort, it first off needs to have a feature that is still central to insurance to some degree. We're trying to find another way to protect our community. But before we go into those type of projects, we want to make sure that we have the funds and the stability beneath us that we can launch those projects and be successful. A lot of projects tend to bite off more than they can chew.
Right.
Yeah, but insurance is if you do it right and you run the numbers, you run the mathematics, this is a very scalable project. Like the upgrade that I was alluding to earlier, and I'm not announcing anything yet. There's still a few things in the background I would have set in place first, but I'm going to probably make that announcement 1 to 2 weeks after launch. And that is going to change. It's going to change the space again, or our community specifically. I expect it to bring in a lot of different holders, and that's something I can only do with insurance. I can't do that with, I don't know, an exchange swap. I can't do it with various concepts that I see over and over and over. NFT platforms, while they have potential, only so many of them are going to succeed. It's going to be like the .com bubble. And that's what I'm anticipating coming sooner than later. A lot of these projects, dime a dozen, they're coming out basically every week. A lot of them are not going to make it. We're going to see the .com bubble type effect happen. We want to be able to protect our community when that happens. And then afterward, everyone can pick up the pieces and we can go further into the DeFi space.
Well, that's awesome. I think that's why it's so important what Chris is also doing with the Unite DeFi, to where you're really solidifying like a base of strong, projects that are starting to communicate and work together, and kind of weeding out the junk stuff that's going to fade off within the year. The 90% or 92% of projects and coins that do just end up falling off after a year's time. So I think the base for DeFi is really going to grow strong this year. And I think that's awesome what you're doing, Chris.
Yeah. And at some point, Chris will invite me onto DeFi because I'll be a person he trusts. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I'm coming on in a couple weeks. So I'm excited too.
Yeah, I trust you now, man. I trust you now.
Yeah. Actually, there's at least two projects on his Unite DeFi that I actually will be talking to some degree, because I think they have an excellent product and an excellent business model and an excellent team. But that'll come again once we launch. We're standing on our own merit. Then we'll start reaching out to other projects and saying, "Hey, we would like to work together in various ways."
Awesome. So let me ask you. Let's lighten it up a little bit. You've given everybody a lot of information. What are some hobbies of yours? And what do you like to do outside of crypto and all this DeFi stuff? What's some stuff you like doing in your free time?
So, as you know, I'm living in Kenya right now. I'm working with the U.S. Embassy, but I've been traveling since I think I was 17. So what I do, I like to learn languages, and I like to then use them in the local area and just see how things go. Sometimes it goes off really well.
Of guys that do that, and oh my god, I love watching the videos. They'll be talking about them, and he'll just start speaking in their language, and the looks on their faces, it's great.
Yeah, total shock. So my last language that I really actually could use was Burmese, and again, that's not a common language that anyone speaks. So when I would show up, I'm this tall black guy, and I'm in Myanmar, and I'm just speaking Burmese to random people. The look on their face was priceless. They understood me, but they just couldn't believe that I was using their language.
That's awesome. That's a cool one. That's one of the more unique answers I've got on that one. That's really cool. So let me ask you, what was the moment, the aha moment, to where you were like, you know what, I'm doing this. I want to go ahead with this project. I don't want to just talk about it anymore. I want to actually move this into motion. Like, what was the moment that you decided you were going to do this? Tell me what that was like.
Honestly, I've been thinking about the idea for a while, but that actual moment was. I'm not going to say the project, but I was trying to buy into a project right when it launched. And I lost like $4,000 or something crazy. And I really believed in the project, but it was I didn't realize there was bots, in motion. And it kind of like just sucked all my investment out, and it basically set me back a couple of weeks, really. So I was like, okay, well, that wasn't actually a scam. It still made me feel like, you know what, I kind of got cheated. And I was like, you know what, I have all the skill sets. I know I can make crypto a better space for investing, because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to invest. I wasn't here to just moonshot off a meme coin. Right. And there's a difference. But to be a real investor in the space, there has to be some semblance of, I know these projects are legitimate projects. When you invest in stocks or you're buying mutual funds, generally you know that they had to go through certain regulations, certain hoops that you're not going to just get. I mean, it can still happen, but generally it's not going to. And that's what I think the crypto space needs, but not from government. I don't think government regulation would help this space.
No, it's not.
I think,
you're right. I've talked to Chris about this in the past before too. I think, to be honest with you, a lot of the responsibility needs to be on the launch pad, that launches it. So many of them, they're just,
Right.
send these projects in and, without doing any due diligence or vetting process on them, to where there are a couple projects out there that, do have launch pads that they are vetting the projects quite heavily, to where when you purchase, on the pre-sale, you're not going to get, rug pulled or scammed for the most part. But it just seems
Right.
like in the past they just had no responsibility, and it just, I think that some of that has to fall on them as well, to make sure that, what they're putting out is, something that's going to be quality, or at least not
Right.
scam people.
And that's what, and exactly. But a lot of the current launch pads at like Pink Sale, it's more or
Right.
less anonymous. No one
Yeah.
knows who they are. And so I know Reflex is coming out with a launch pad at some point, and I think
DGEM
there's
has
one
one
more that,
too. Yeah, DGEM has one
yeah.
that they're doing
But,
quite a lot
right.
of vetting on.
So these are the first launch pads that have Doc's team behind them.
Right.
And I think we're shifting into a new phase. But again, there's going to be a transition because Pink Sale dominates the market right now. So it's kind of, again, that's what the coin risk rating is for. It's kind of start drawing people into the space where the Unite DeFi projects are more in their realm. They're like, okay, we can trust these projects because they have real people behind them that have put their reputation on the line to make these projects a success.
Yeah.
When people, I mean, I like the DeFi, I like the anonymity, but again, it breeds scams, honestly.
Yeah, I was involved with the pre-sale a couple weeks ago, and I woke up late, and I was like, oh shit, I got to get in before it reaches the hard cap. Well, I click on the Telegram, and I clicked on the very first pre-sale pink sale launch for it. I went to send my BNB to it, and I realized it was a wrong contract, and then I looked at the URL at the top, and it was pink sale with two eyes. And it's just a bot that created, it looked just like Pink Sale, and it had over 700 BNB that it had siphoned off of people who thought they were investing in the actual pre-sale itself. It made me sick.
Right. Yeah. And actually that's spoofing, and that we actually
Right.
do cover that type of scam for projects that we vetted. And again, that's the reason, because sometimes you're on Twitter, you're asking for help, especially new people.
Right.
You don't know who you're talking to. If they immediately respond with what looks like an official email or a Twitter account.
It looks just like
it. Yeah. And we protect against that as a medium risk scam, because we know it does happen, and you shouldn't. Yeah, we should check the URL, but how many of us check the URL every single time we click on our phone?
Yeah, exactly. And I was running late, and I just wanted to get in real quick, and thank God I looked at the URL and it said PIINK sale with two eyes. I was like, wait a second here.
Right. So and that's why we have that coverage.
Again, I'm going to chime in real quick. In that situation, there will be a process of investigation to prove that you were a part of a serial scam spoofing event, and it was not just a one or two off situation.
Right.
Because that is something that obviously could be taken advantage of. We will have to investigate an event like that.
But what can you do?
Correct.
Like, do you have any means to be able to get those funds back? I know you'll reimburse with certain things, but how will you guys, take care of it, eating that cost of something like that?
Well, the way we've designed the insurance, that is actually the point of it. We are absorbing that cost.
Okay.
There really is no way to retrieve funds right now in the DeFi space. I mean, I know the FBI just pulled it off with Bitcoin or something, but if the FBI is in this space like that, this isn't DeFi anymore.
No.
This is... So that's the trade-off. It's, if we can help, basically, we're not trying to make people... we don't protect against market volatility. So if you had a growth of, I don't know, 1,000%, and your $1,000 became $100,000, we're not going to pay you $100,000. We'll pay you your original investment, which means you start back where you initially started, not all the gains you gained. Because again, we can't cover that amount of loss, and the market's it's really too volatile. Anything can cause a price to go up or down. So we're protecting your original investment, because that's what insurance is. It's designed to make you whole. It means that you start off again where you originally started, basically at square one. If your house burns down, the insurance company pays you enough to rebuild a house of the same value. That's what you're getting.
All right, that's cool. That's really good. Now, we've kind of skirted around this issue, and we've mentioned a couple things about it, but do you think regulation's good or bad for crypto? Do you think it can actually be done? That might even be a better question.
Yeah. So I think it can be done, but I think the recommendations for regulation in this space really has to come from people who understand the space. And
Yes.
right now, there's no. I watched the congressional hearing with the centralized exchanges in December. No way is the current sitting Congress going to be able to make rules and regulations that could really help to grow the space without basically killing everything else off. What I would see happen, I guess, if the current Congress did it, is basically it would become a monopoly. A handful of companies would control the space, and it wouldn't be DeFi anymore.
Right.
It wouldn't be anyone can start a project or anyone can do X, Y, Z or anonymous. Like being anonymous actually is going to they're trying to get rid of, honestly, with the enhanced version of KYCs that are coming out. They're going to try, but I don't think DeFi is going to accept a lot of that. And I don't think regulation for DeFi can really come from anyone other than people in the space.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it can either. And I think more than anything, more than regulation, I think the next step of it with government interference will more be adoption of crypto. You know, I don't know if you know.
100%.
Go ahead, Chris.
That's 100%. The only way that you can battle the space is if you actually adopt it.
Absolutely.
And then through adoption, you become like essentially the stable regulatory manner. I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. I highly doubt it, but that's the only way you could actually regulate it. It's a toothless organization when it comes to like the actual DeFi space. Just to be 100% honest.
Yeah.
You know, Jewel Master over at DGEM had a really cool solution for this that I had never even thought of. He said, you know, what the government should do is they should announce to everybody we're going to be adopting crypto for, you know, this function, this function, this function. Everything's going to be crypto, this and that for the next 3 years. There's going to be no taxes. Everything's going to be tax-free. Get everybody hooked on it and hooked on using it, and then say after 3 years, now all the taxes get lowered down on it that they control. And I was like, yeah, it's kind of a good idea to get everybody, you know, really mass adoption of crypto.
It will be excellent in the space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Honestly, and there's something down the line that I'm looking at, and actually I got an idea from being overseas, because here, like even like in Africa, in the Middle East, using phones for your payments is very widespread. We don't use it as much in the US because we have credit cards. I mean, there is Apple Wallet, but it's not the same. Here, I can send anybody money. All they need is a phone number. And there's value in that. It's underbanked people can actually use money in the digital space, and it's huge. So I'm studying what they're doing here, seeing how crypto can actually fit in that space, and see if we can create something that actually mimics that, but on a much, much larger scale.
Right. So you're saying in Africa it's less dependent on, you know, even like going to the banks, you know, getting money in and out, doing it like that. It's totally different peer to peer in Africa that you've noticed.
Exactly. Yeah, and a lot of that's because I study like the economics here as well as the politics, and it's really because a lot of people don't. It's not that they don't trust their money in all the countries. Some of them, like Zimbabwe, they don't trust their money. But they've just grown up on cell phones. They're not always on the internet like we are, like with computers. They're on Facebook, WhatsApp, Telegram. Right. That's their internet. So they're used to this exchange of peer to peer, whether it's information, whether it's money. It's more common here, and they use it more effectively actually than we even use in the US or even when I was in Japan or Korea. So it's a whole different ballgame with how far advanced they are in using cell phones for basically everything.
And I didn't even think about that. And then when you kind of mentioned it, you know, I'd heard some things like that over the years, but I just didn't really understand it. That's cool that you've been looking into that. You know, we're going to lighten it up a little bit. I'm from Philly. You know, you were born in Philly. I'm a foodie. I love food. I have high cholesterol right now though, so I'm on this low fat diet and I absolutely hate it. I'm miserable. I can't eat any of the foods that I love eating. So I want to live vicariously through you guys. If you guys had to choose your last meal, what would it be?
I'll let Chris go first because I have to think about it for a second.
All right, Chris.
Mine's the exact same one as before. It's Irish pork from the Corner Cafe and Pizzeria.
Yeah, we know you love your Irish pork.
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff.
Oh my god, I had John from G and L on the other day, and he was talking. He wanted his haggis, and I was like, "Oh my god, man!" He was like, "That's all I want. I want me some haggis and some sheep stomach." I'm like, "John, you're so gross."
Wait, so you had John on? Was that live?
No, it wasn't live, but I gotta tell you, we had it over under. Me and EJ were joking about it, playing a drinking game. Every time he drops the F bomb, I mean, we would die within 10 minutes. He had to drop at least 150 F bombs. John, if you're listening, I love you. But oh man, it
I
was
love
great.
you too, John. I love you too, John.
It was so funny. He said so. I have it posted on the channel. Give a listen to it. You will die. It's so funny. Some of the shit he says it cracks me up so much.
Oh, yeah. He's great, though. You can tell he's so passionate about what he does. All right, sorry.
All right, no.
Yeah.
All right. So if you ever get a chance,
what's your last meal?
Yeah, this is me. Anyway, if anyone gets a chance, go to Bangkok. There's a little hole in the wall restaurant. It's like a little Japanese place. They give you like 2 pounds of steak, and you eat it. You can grill it in front of you. You eat it. It's probably one of the best meals I've ever had.
All right, so it's almost like all right, good. So it's almost like a hibachi grill kind of thing where they'll just like prepare it your way.
Yep, no vegetables, just rice and 2 pounds of meat.
2 pounds of meat. How do you get it? Like, what kind of ways have you gotten it before?
What you mean? No, like that's it. They just give you the meat and they say you can cook it however you want. Just like cook it to whatever temperature you want. I thought they would like prepare it like teriyaki or put whatever sauce on it. No, they soak it in garlic, I don't know, garlic soy sauce or whatever, and that's it. You just eat it. It's probably one of the best meals I've ever had, and I've been around. So
2 pounds of meat, you can't beat that. I like that. I like your style. Oh man.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome, man. Now,
I understand his answer though, because my mind actually truly does go to like this Brazilian steakhouse that I went to once. That was like amazing. It was like probably the best meal I've ever actually had in my life.
Yeah.
But I got to represent that Irish pork.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss my buffet days, and my God, I used to love going to Chinese buffets, and just your eyes would be so big, and you just couldn't eat everything there. I'm getting hungry now. This sucks. Been eating like vegetables and fruit, and no red meat. It's been awful.
Sounds like a hard life.
It is, but I have lost a couple pounds. I was starting my over 40 men's basketball league, and I got injured at the end of last season, and I kind of gained a little bit of weight by just loafing around. I stopped going to the gym, and then when the season started back up, I'm like, all right, I gotta lose like 20 pounds so I can run up and down the court because it's full court. It's terrible when you're over 40 and out of shape. So,
couple more years.
Yeah, you got a few more years left.
Yeah, listen, I'm 33, so yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, the metabolism it was like once I hit 40, the metabolism just slowed down. I used to be able to, still stay in shape, not working out some, and eating, too much pizza. But then once you hit 40, man, it really is no joke. It just all goes to your stomach. It's terrible.
Yeah, Yushuwa, you definitely look younger than me. That's crazy.
That's because I've been shaving my beard forever. That's what that is. I can't really grow it out. It grows out like I don't know. It's a terror. It doesn't grow well.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel terrible. Bad. I'm the worst Italian ever. I can only grow a mustache in the bottom beard. I can't grow anything on the sides at 41 now. I'm like the worst Italian ever. Yeah, I just have to shave it off.
Yeah. So
seriously.
So don't be fooled about the pictures. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, how did you go about choosing and getting with your team at Shieldcoin?
So I've been following Chris on MetaBUSD since I would say December. I really liked the project. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I really like this project. And more or less, I was going to look for a different project, but he was the first developer I actually reached out to because I was like, I trust your product. I know this guy will, he's going to be honest at least. If he's not going to do it with me, he's just going to let me know. And I can deal with that. So I reached out to him and he actually was like, hey, I'm interested. And let's talk. And we did. And that's where we went from there.
That's awesome. Yeah, Chris is a good dude, and you
And I can
definitely hit the
and I
jackpot on
can
the first
say
try.
and I can say that I turn people down all the time, like on a regular daily basis. I turn people
Yeah,
down
that's what I
on
was wondering. How many offers do you actually get, Chris, to do your stuff for projects?
oh a ton. I mean, yeah, a ton. I can like it right now. I'm working on many, but I get probably 2 to 3 a day of
Wow.
just like at least an idea. A lot of them I'll field out like stage one and like just my process. Stage one is they give me like a little quick pitch, and then then I usually want to know like who are you? Like, you know, like why will I do this with you? Because it can't be just me doing it in most cases. I have a project that I'm dedicated to that takes up 90% of my time. So outside of that, I have to be able to do like, you know, development work for other people, and that's what I'll take on. Short of that, I won't take on much else unless it's like a really good project that I really believe in. There's a lot of work that I do behind the scenes that just nobody ever knows about. I just do the work, develop the contracts, send it to the people, they use it, never gets talked about because I won't let them associate my name with that project. So they're not allowed to say that like I wrote the contract for them. I don't know what they're doing per se. But if I'm going to actually say like my name's attached to it, it goes further to like I believe in something innovative about the project itself and the people that are behind it. That
Yeah.
makes sense.
So what about Shield? What about Shield Coin made you want to put your name on that and really get to that next phase of it?
Primarily, Yushuwa. He sold me because, for instance, this crypto assurance thing for a lot of people, like it's their first time hearing about it. It's not my first time hearing about it. I've tossed around the idea of crypto assurance for a long time now. Me and Luca have even talked about it before, but we've never known the right people that we thought that would be like truly actually able to implement it, and I mean this from like a regulatory sense as well as a knowledge basis. So a lot of people like think they might know what it takes economically to make the insurance game work, and I don't know better. But if they have a background that represents that and they're licensed to do so, that kind of like like makes me lean a little bit heavier into it. And then if I'm able to reference their background, their associates, their contracts that they've held previously and currently, all around, if everything checks out, that's a pretty good sell.
And I am a licensed insurance agent, so and that
Okay.
was a part of my So I'm licensed in life insurance and property. I actually passed the health one too, but I didn't sell it, so I just kind of got rid of that license. But property is basically what this falls into the realm of. And I'm again licensed in several states. So this is definitely, and I like it. I like insurance. I think insurance allows people to take additional risks so they can grow their wealth, but in a safer way. And that's what I'm trying to bring to the space.
Yeah, insurance is one of those fields to where you gotta love it to do it. It's not like one of those like jobs where like you're in it, you're like, yeah, I kind of like it. It's definitely one
Right.
of those you gotta like love doing it to be in it and be
Yeah.
successful in it for sure.
Exactly.
Well, let me
Yeah. Go
also
ahead.
ask you guys this. Just like nobody ever thinks about this from like a project perspective, but from like the project perspective, not as like a Shield Coin member, but just as a general project developer. If there is something available in the market for the investor that's more common knowledge that allows them to handle that risk mitigation, you might actually, and this is just a maybe, I don't know, you maybe be able to help transform how the actual launch performance on the chart works. Because currently, the common method for the investor to handle the risk mitigation is to pull their investment back out after launch.
Right.
You buy the pre-sale or you buy right in, you would let it, pump 2, 3x,
Yep.
and then you pull your initial out and leave the house money. Well, that kills some projects.
It does.
Like
you get that big red candle right at launch, and then you're way down. Absolutely.
Yeah. So if this is another method that helps both parties involved in time. Again, this is after adoption. This is after many
Right.
people are using it, and you're able to pre-vet projects and help them with their launch a little bit down the road with utility overall. But everything goes right, you might be able to help develop an ecosystem that's actually beneficial to all parties involved. And that's what's interesting here.
Right. And that's why down the road, a launch pad from us would actually be very viable. But we need to build that trust in the community first.
I think that's cool. We got a question from chat if you guys want to answer it.
Yeah, of course.
The way it's worded, I'm not quite sure, but it may make a little more sense to you. It says, are only those investments secured happening after you buy Shield or all in the wallet when you buy Shield?
It's all in the wallet. So whether you bought it 10 days before we launched or after we launched, if it's on our CRR and it has a rating, as soon as you have active coverage, you're covered.
Okay. All right, well, I'm glad that question made sense to you. All right, good. I wasn't sure if it was worded properly or I was Jay.
No, it was fine.
And again, just to dig off that technically, so just to make this point very clear for any new listeners, it was covered before, but again, we'll cover it one more time. If, say, we launch and you have, theoretically, we are covering Evergrow coin, and you were a day 5 buyer of Evergrow coin, and today your Evergrow coin is worth $10,000. We launch our Shield token. You have the crypto assurance. You're not covered for $10,000 worth of Evergrow coin. We literally track the blockchain transaction all the way to where your purchase price, what you purchased of Evergrow coin, and that is what you were covered for. You were covered for your investment in the space.
Gotcha.
Now, if you realize your gains at any point, so like let's just say you're invested in NBC, and NBC 10x's tomorrow, and you decide, hey, I want to realize these gains, what you do is you sell, and then you repurchase. And you've just realized your gains, and now you have a new amount of
basic coverage or original investment.
Original investment that you can cover. Yes.
So let me ask you then, every time you buy and sell, and theoretically, if that amount of coverage changes, do you have to, I'm trying to find a way to word it, do you have to keep changing like the agreement or the contract with you guys, or does it just do it automatically?
So the contract is based on transaction. So if you said, I had $1,000, I turned it to $2,000, and now I realize that gain, I want to reinvest it. Right. But before I do, I want to have coverage. Now, all you do is do $200 will give you $2,000 in coverage, I think, I think that's the ratio, or $100 will give you $2,000 in coverage. Yeah, because it's a 1-to-20 ratio.
Correct.
Right. So once that transaction is done, you have overlapping coverage. Your old coverage is still in effect for 30 days.
Okay.
The new coverage starts for another 30 days, but it's based on your transaction hash date. But we, again, like Chris said, we can look into the blockchain and see when a transaction starts and when it ends. There is no disputing it. To the minute, or I think to the second, actually, we can look at it.
So literally to the millisecond.
Right. And that's why insurance works so well on the blockchain. Because the ledgers are open, they're public, and I can look into the wallet's transactions and see, even if a scam occurred, like I know if this scam has occurred or this wallet has interacted with this wallet before, or two wallets or whatever the case may be. Everything's on the blockchain. And that allows us to say we can take on an insurance ratio of 1-to-20. That's both reasonable and it gives enough coverage that people are incentivized to actually protect their assets.
Now, I've been watching a little bit too much Shark Tank lately, and I know they always ask this question. So I'm going to ask it to you guys. Are there any competitors in this space?
Yeah. Right now, no. The only thing I've seen is a few projects are adding a version of insurance protection when they do their launch pads. Yeah. But again, that's limited to whatever they launch off their launch pads. We're not limiting it to anything other than the analysis of that project. And right now, we're more or less sticking to the Binance blockchain. But every project that is viable is fair game to get a rating. And because we don't want to limit investing, we want money to keep moving in the space. So we can't just say, oh, you're only protected with what we launch off our launch pad. We'll say we're doing all the analysis. The first version will come out with about 150 to 200 projects already cleared, and that'll be on Wednesday or Thursday, or the 17th. So it'll be Wednesday. And after the 17th, by launch week, I intend to get another couple hundred onto that list. So by the time we actually launch, more people's projects are covered. And I'm pulling most of those names from our community. So if people are in our community are already holding the tokens that they want evaluated, we're going to do those analysis and have those on a list. So by launch, they know what part of their portfolio is already covered.
Nice. All right, that's good. That's good. So you said you're only sticking to BSC tokens right now?
For the time being, I have a few of them that are not BSC. There's a few of them on Ethereum chain and Polygon. But right now, I'm primarily focused on BNB because we're on BNB.
Right.
But we intend to go all the way out. Yeah. It's just a matter of me going through the projects, finishing the evaluations.
Yeah, you're only one person. It takes a lot of time to do it right, too.
Well, right now I'm one person. I'm creating an SOP that I'll be able to then hire on additional analysts to do what I'm doing, and then I'll just do a final check to make sure that there's nothing, standing out that they may not have caught. Because I'm always in the weeds. This is what I do. I do it for the government. I did it in the Marine Corps. Like, this is what I do. I go through contracts. I do data analytics. I've been doing this for years. So I'm applying it now with my business degree to these projects and saying viable and not viable and at what level.
So let me ask you, do you think that this is something, you said you're a licensed insurance agent. Do you think that this is an easy transition for like some of your peers that, may have some interest in what you're doing to, be able to eventually, join your team? Like you said, you're doing an SOP to actually, be able to, go through the projects and all. Do you think that that's, a natural step, or do you think that that's a pretty steep learning curve?
For a lot of people, until I simplify it, it'll be a steep learning curve. Because right now, me being an insurance agent is only one component of my expertise.
Right.
I understand contracts. I understand business. So I'm not just coming as an insurance agent that's just been selling property or life insurance for 15 years. I have other businesses. I've done analysis. I am educated in these fields. So that, and again, I'm Lean Six Sigma certified. So analyzing processes, this is what I have been doing for years. So there's a lot that I'm pulling together to make this project a reality.
Oh my God.
It's not just insurance. Yeah, that's a benefit.
I used to sell years and years ago. I worked for a company, and we used to sell certification training courses for Six Sigma. Back in the day.
Yeah, I was like a black belt or something. I was certified, and then I just kind of let it expire because I was like, all right, I don't need. I can use the techniques without keep paying them hundreds of dollars every
learning
3 years.
Information and be able to apply it with what you're doing.
Right.
Well, we only got time
but it can be learned. Go ahead. No, I said, but it can be learned.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I said we got time for about another question or two. I wanted to ask you though, since you really have a lot of moving parts with this, obviously. What's been like something or like a challenge that your biggest challenge so far that you didn't expect when you kind of started this whole process?
The marketing. I can do the background analytics, admin work. I mean, I've been working 20-hour days for about 2 weeks now. I can do that. I can do that all day. But marketing, it's a new skill I'm learning as I'm going through the process. I'm relying heavily on Chris. Another guy he brought onto the team, Nick, Luca, and I'm trying to get a feel for marketing in this space because it's not the same as marketing for a business in the real world and the regular, on TV or whatnot. This is on Telegram and Discord and Twitter, and there are certain techniques that work and certain things that do not work. So marketing has been my challenge. Getting people to know that the project is here.
And to be 100% clear, it's a challenge for anybody in this space. There's like certain things that work on certain levels of development. You have to literally shift gears as you grow and start to change your patterns of marketing in order to remain effective. It's very interesting. Crypto is a very unique space.
And we also have to stand out. Yeah, you have to stand out because everyone has a project. Everyone has an idea. Some people just have a product and not a business, and they don't know the difference. So we're trying to show people this is a real business model, and scaling it isn't going to take much. 2 months in, we'll have another expansion to what we're doing. because I know what I'm doing and I know what the space needs. So again, differentiating yourself in the marketing is very, very, it's difficult, but it's not impossible, especially when people start understanding what we're bringing to the table.
Nice. All right. Well, that was definitely a good answer. All right, we got time for one last question, and I ask this question to every single one of my guests because I get such crazy and wild answers. Chris, I already asked this one to you, so Yushuwa, this is for you. What
Okay.
person, fictional character, historical figure, celebrity would you like to meet in the ring and just duke it out with?
Oh, just duke it out with?
Yep. Who would you like to throw it down with?
Oof. That's I don't know.
It's a disarming question because you've never probably thought
No,
about it.
it's funny. Well, all right. I'll put it like this, and it's politically charged, but it'd be President Obama.
Really?
Yes, and not for the reason people think. It's not like I didn't have a problem with him becoming president,
I
but
love
I think
Obama.
I voted for him. Don't get me wrong. I voted for him, but that wasn't my issue. My issue was certain things that could have been done while he held power wasn't done, and then after he got out, he basically made a few comments in the periphery. Like he wrote a book, I think, afterward, and I'm like, you had the power. Not many people ever hold the presidential power and understand a lot of the issues from having lived it, particularly in the U.S. And I believe that if ever given the
Okay,
chance with the right power,
yeah,
I'm not going to
I
say I'm
follow
going to do
you.
something. I'm going to do it. And that's, yeah, I believe leadership should really lead, not just,
I
keep the
follow
system,
you.
the status quo as it is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you're fighting the House and Congress and everything. Both sides
It
just butt
is.
heads the whole time, and just nothing can get not nothing, but just a lot can't
You
get
know
done,
what?
and it sucks.
You knew it when you ran for the position.
Yeah.
when you're the leader at the top, and I met him, so it's not like I didn't meet the guy. But when you run for a position and you're at the top, you have no excuses. In the Marine Corps, if you were the sergeant in charge of a platoon and things went bad, you can't say, "Well, situation, terrain, it was just a little bit too much for me to handle." No, it's your responsibility, and you have to say, "I failed this project for whatever reason, but it's my responsibility because I wasn't prepared."
Well, thank God I'm not an enormous YouTuber because you may be having Secret Service knocking at your door later tonight. If
They
I
know where to
have
find
millions
me.
of followers, you may have his Secret Service at your door, but
They know where to find me.
they know where to find you. Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
I want to thank you guys so much for coming on the show. Obviously we really had it. Me and Chris, we've known each other a little bit now, and we've been talking and done this before, but we've never met, and I wasn't quite sure how it was going to go. Usually I like to know people a little bit better before we go on, but I had a blast, getting to know you and knowing what you guys are all about in the project, and I think this is going to be absolutely huge for a lot of people. And I'll give you a chance, to say whatever you want to say about launch or anything before we sign off here. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, again, we're basically really trying to help the community. We want people to be able to grow their wealth. A lot of people are here in the crypto space because they want to be free. They don't. Some of us who don't want to work. Some of us want to have enough money to. We can do the things with our families and our friends that we want to go do. Crypto has the possibility to allow this to happen for us, but it has to be a safer space for it to actually occur for the majority of us. A few of us can become Dogecoin millionaires, but it's not going to be everybody. And to get there, we're going to have to do it. You have to be cautious, but you have to be methodical. And crypto insurance is really going to help that along. And so will the coin risk rating. It's going to help people navigate this space far more effectively and make far more money if they take our tools and use them for their investments. That's how I'll leave it.
Awesome. And when is your launch going to be?
March 26th.
All right, so we got a
Yeah,
little less
on
than
pink
2 weeks
sale.
until the big day on pink. Yeah, I like to say on pink
On pink sale. On the real pink sale.
on real pink sale. Make sure it's spelled correctly, guys, please. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and Chris, thank you for joining in, and I definitely look forward to talking with you guys again. These guys are the real deal, and this is going to be huge for you guys. So definitely always do your own research and diligence, but check out Shield Coin, guys. It was great talking with you, and I will definitely talk with you guys again shortly.
Sounds good.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome, guys. Have a great day now.
You too.